Greetings, fellow Gravewalkers, and welcome to another video. Today, we're going to be going over a handful of rare titles, specifically 10, in no specific order because this ain't a top 10, and a few honorable mentions that are kinda interesting to deal with. So, as a first things first, the one thing you gotta know is that not every title on this list is exactly rare as in hard to find. Rare in Shadow of War often means uncommon or once per save file. Think of the Stitch or the Machine, and we'll get to the Stitch. So let's get into it. Starting off with, we have a title that is air quotes rare, the Stitch. You'll know him, you'll love him, and he can only be created once per save file, which is why I'm saying he's rare, because you won't be able to get another one if your original one dies, unless you find one in an online vendetta or in an online siege.
That's what happens when you challenge someone who cannot die.
And here is a Stitch that I found on Reddit with a bag head, because I don't have one. They're very interesting how they keep the teeth and the weird mouth even with the bag. This one also has a fur shoulder pad, unlike mine, although I have seen this commonly on Stitches, I believe it's just a chance. And here's my Stitch, so you can see their face. As you can see, they have the weird lip thing going on, and mine has a shame mark, but that's what their eye always looks like, where it's constantly closed. They've got these cool straps coming around to hold on the shoulder pad, and the shoulder pad itself is this cool plated steel thing with spikes. They also have a bit of a Voldemort nose going on. And as I'm sure we're all aware, the Stitch is created by decapitating an Olog and having them cheat death as the Stitch. These guys aren't really rare, as in they're hard to find, more or less just rare because there's only one that can be created per save file. And here he is doing what Ologs do best. Next up, we have one I'm sure most of us are familiar with, and no, not the literate one.
Out hunting when you should be praising Sauron.
Our favorite crazy devotee to Sauron, the Raid Leader. It's a title that I've only found, I believe, twice, meaning it's not a once per save file or super duper uber rare, but he's still not something I've seen a lot of. Although, obviously, RNG could mean you found the guy a lot, I just haven't. I feel like I shouldn't miss out saying that not all raid leaders are Ologs, but I mean, it doesn't matter. Look at that helmet and tell me he ain't cool. Overall, I love the look of the raid leader's armor, and I especially love that mine's a destroyer because he's got that blue Balrog logo on his chest. This also won't be the last time we see Balrog logos in this video, since another title also has them. And here he is doing what Ologs do, giving a good old smackdown.
You think you have a chance against me? You have a greater chance of defeating a Grau!
If you can't tell from our big friend introducing himself, next up is the Dead Sun Olog. These big guys are always Ologs and always part of the Outlaw tribe, and are once per save file, meaning don't lose him. And as does seem to be the trend, this guy is not originally from my save file. I found him during an online siege, and I've always loved the Dead Sun Olog's look. They have the infernal look, but with the head torch put out and black war paint. They're also outlaws, meaning they get some outlaw bonuses. And my guy that I got is pretty powerful, as you can see him killing Ukbook. He got a funny ragdoll.
I'm going to tear out your spine and wrap it around your neck.
Another added bonus is that I believe the Dead Sun is almost always a destroyer, which does fit them and makes them have a really nice aesthetic to them. Here's a nice close-up of him, and as you can see, he's got that really grayed out, washed steel look, unlike the Infernal's bright red. And here you can see his black Balrog shoulder pad. Very cool. Love how that looks on him. Looks great. Before we get too far into the next section, I would like to thank this lovely person for letting me know about the Wasp title. Didn't know he existed, but he's now on this list. So, I was lucky enough to get a Wasp literally the day before I am recording this, so he's on the list. And he's pretty cool. I actually really like the way the Wasp looks. He's got the, fanatical helmet on with the minor class, yellow, and the machine armor. Looks very, very cool. I quite like him. Sadly mine died, so I had to revive him. But even as a zombie, he's still a new bodyguard in Gorgoroth to replace Bruise. And here he is actually getting a kill, and not just standing around looking nice. And here's another one. And here's somebody else's Wasp for a good idea of what they can look like. Next up, we have the Iron Arm Olog, and as you can imagine, he's got a metal arm, specifically a claw, and it's in the same style as the Uruks with the Iron Arm. But I believe these guys are a little bit different. But the claw design is pretty much the same. They're very cool looking. They got the giant metal claw, as you'll see in one of the next frames. And they're pretty cool. I don't really have a huge amount to say on them. Just, they're a pretty rare title. Like I said, we're not going in order. We're just putting on some pretty rare titles. And here's the famous Iron Arm itself. It is literally just a giant metal claw slipped on to the Olog's nub. And it looks cool as hell. You know, an Olog with a giant metal claw is rather intimidating. And here he is giving the beat down to some grunts. Or at least he should be. Yeah, here he is. He's pretty cool. Definitely not a title you see every day. And not an appearance you see every day. Which is why he's getting included here. Next up, we have another one, quite like the last. We have the Limp Leg Uruk, and while I know he's not currently on screen, you'll see him in a second. This is an Uruk that is part of the Outlaw tribe, and has a peg leg. Hence why he's called the Limp Leg. He's got a little peg leg, and he looks like a pirate. Again, another title that you don't see every day. Not that it's, some impossible to find thing, just pretty rare. And for some reason in this shot he's got a normal foot. I don't know what that's about, but that is the Limp Leg, and he just got taken out. There you go, you saw the peg leg and that guy went flying. You saw the peg leg for a second there. We're going to cut to a frame of it much closer up and him killing this guy. He also likes to military press them. Pretty fun. And after that beautifully done execution with the peg leg, here it is, nice and close. It is literally just a peg leg. Pretty fun. Next up, we have another cheat death boy, the Plague Bringer. Now, if you've ever killed an Uruk with poison and had them come back to life, you will be very familiar with this title. They are always legendary and always use poison, hence the Plague Bringer name, and they have to cheat death after dying to poison. Here is mine, and he looks awesome. This title I'm considering rare because, once again, it's a once per save file. You can only create them once per game. Very cool model. I love the outfit this guy's got on. He's got that hat thing, hood going on. He's got the robes. I'm a huge fan of his look. He looks, well, like a plague bringer. He's also got these really cool quills in his hood that I'm a huge fan of. Really like how those look. And here's a close-up of his messed up face. So, these last three I don't actually have, so I'm relying on what I can find online. So here is the Expounder Olog. An Olog who really should have been in the Warpaint video for his very unique dark green paint. And I have not found this title, so that's why he's here. I have not found him. So I can only guess he's pretty rare. Next up is one I'm sure we're all very aware of, the Twins. And these guys are a once per save file, so if you mess up and lose them when they spawn, well, you're not getting another one unless you find it in an online vendetta or siege. Very sad that I have not found one of these guys, because they look awesome. And lastly, I have one of the most well-known rare titles, the Blood Axe. And yes, that is Krook. If you know Tear of Grace, you know Krook. Just thought I would say that yes, that is Krook. Now, the Blood Axe is very well known for the Blood Axe, and being a once per save file, and an awesome one at that. Now, when it comes to spawning in Shadow of War, they are almost guaranteedly slaughter, except for the one right here who I believe was imported from Shadow of Mordor. When they spawn in Shadow of War, they are almost always slaughter, and almost always slaughter Berserker. Mostly because the whole blood axe thing. You know, that's kind of important. And for honorable mentions, I'm including all of the Uruk miners, since every one of these titles is relatively rare, and all of these are taken from Ikiga. The dude made some amazing Uruk hunts back in the day. And he's definitely got footage of the ones that I don't have footage for, so go check those out if you really want to see them in action. Almost completely forgot to say thank you to this guy for finally giving me the kick to do this video, because I'd been planning it for a bit. And, there we go. First video in almost 2 weeks, because my voice has been complete shit. Yeah, this feels a little more slapped together in my opinion, but I'm trying. As you can see, nice new end screen with easier to read text, just pops better. New intro, just changing some things up. We'll see how it all goes down, and, thanks for watching.